So what I get a sense of is there's actually the main energy for the week is starting near the beginning with that quarter moon, with the moon in Scorpio and the sun in Aquarius, as this is dealing with transformation and changes that need to occur that people are likely going to be outright by or don't want to face. But what that Scorpio energy is helping you to face what you need to face. And I say more on this in the full video. Just a reminder that this is a global mundane reading and not at all a sun signs or all sign forecast. I do not do simple sun sign forecasts. Okay, so let's start off at the beginning of this week here on Sunday, February 8th. And on this day, we are only going to have Venus here in square to Uranus. Okay, so we can see Venus here in Aquarius, square to Uranus here at the end of Taurus. Uranus now being direct. So let me just see if I can get a sense of this. I get a lot of chaos. There's a lot of people involved. It's like something is going on or something has happened. And there's a lot of chaos. Like I said, there's a lot of chaos with a lot of people involved. I'm not getting anything more than that. They're saying to just kind of leave it at that, so I will leave it at that. So that's what that is, okay? Interesting start to the week. Let's move on right on then to Monday the 9th. Okay, and of course, this is when we're going to have this last quarter moon. So we've got the moon in Scorpio and the sun in Aquarius. Let me just see here. It feels like there's going to be an intensity here surrounding aspects of change, but it feels like people aren't going to see it as positive when in reality it's something that actually needs to progress and make change on or whatever. And so it has to be done, and it will actually have an innate positive outcome. It's one of the, okay, what I get a sense of is it's something that needs to happen, even though you may not want it to, or it can be tough to deal with. All right. What I get a sense of is it's that Scorpio energy. There's a lot of people that don't like Scorpio simply because they don't want to have to face what they have to face. They don't want to face skeletons in the closet. They don't want to have to face what they need to in order to actually heal and truly transform and be that phoenix rising from the ashes, to be able to live free again, away from that trauma or whatever those experiences are, right? In order to appropriately deal with something, you have to face it. It's not telling someone to be in fear or saying, oh, this is going to happen, to instill fear into something. There's people that do that. There's people that do that want to get views and make a lot of money. However, the difference is, with someone that's doing it properly, is they'll tell you, okay, yeah, this is what I sense and this is what I feel, but here's what you can do about it. And I'm giving you this awareness so that you can take action to try to actually appropriately deal with it in a certain way. Okay? Instead of just instilling fear and being like, there's nothing you can do, you're just going to have to deal with this. It's like, well, no. Here's some options, here's whatever, right? Here's how you can heal this, here's what you can do, but you actually have to take action to do it. Okay, a lot of people don't understand that spirituality is as much related to taking action as it is in your intuition and being creative and just relaxing as well. Okay, like, it's twofold. You've got to be able to tune in to understand the guidance and whatever, but at the same time you actually have to be able to take action on that guidance within this physical reality, because you do live within this physical reality. Okay, the words that I'm getting are guided action. So you use both together, that taking action as well as tuning into the guidance to perform guided action. And that's what ultimately supports you, instead of just flailing about. Now, but what I get a sense of is that intensity or that unwantedness of whatever the situation is regarding changes or shaking things up. I feel like this is very kind of wild and crazy or something like that as it relates to the sun in Aquarius. But it's because people don't want to face it. They don't want to face it. They don't want to see it. Well, you don't have a choice. Because in order to heal it, in order to move on from things, in order to properly progress, you have to. You have to. But the words that I'm getting is like, it's for your own damn good. It's for your own damn good. And you don't have to suffer through it. You have to face it, but ultimately you're going to come out of it freer and healer and better than what you did before. Okay? Like, it's not meant to just weigh you down and that's always how it's going to be. Okay? But you have to face this stuff. And again, that's why people don't like Scorpio. They think it's toxic. Scorpio is not toxic. Scorpio wakes you up to the bullshit you actually have to face to become a better person, to actually heal, to transform, to do all of those things. It doesn't have to be toxic, and it's not fear-mongering either. There's people that do fear-mongering that are fucked up, okay? But that is not what I do here, and the appropriate way to deliver a message is to say, you know what, here's this. It's like the analogy of a doctor. If you go in for, let's say, a routine checkup, and the doctor realizes that you have, let's say, cancer or some kind of autoimmune disease that, is you likely may only have a few months left or something like that. Does he just not tell you because it's instilling fear in you and you just go live your life and then fall down one day and die? Or does he actually tell you, hey, you've got this and here's what we can do about it to make let's say you don't have a lot of time left, but here's what we can do about it to make this time left that you have worth living, to get your affairs together and to make it the best that it can possibly be before the end. Or here's what we can do to actually help you to heal it. Or here's what we can do to mitigate the situation. Or here's what we can do in whatever way. Okay, it's not about instilling fear into someone, it's about delivering the message in an appropriate way and giving appropriate amounts of support to help that person. Now, telling someone they have cancer or they have an autoimmune disease that is life-threatening is far different than what this situation that I'm talking about is. However, I'm using that as an example, right? You need to have the awareness of what is really going on with you in order to appropriately be able to deal with it. A lot of people won't be able to handle that message, but it is what it is. Okay. So I'm going to move on here. We're also going to have Venus here that will be in semi-sextile to Saturn. I get a sense of boundaries being set towards certain people and the changes that need to occur within that. Remember, Venus is in Aquarius, and we're talking about connection, disconnection, changes, etc. So there's boundaries and changes that are needing to occur here in some way. This feels like it might be kind of hidden, or something that occurs behind the scenes, whereas the people that are aware of it, it's not publicly known on a whole public level, but there's people that obviously are aware of it that are maybe outside the situation because but it's still happening, let's say, within like an office building setting or within a certain business type of setting. The people that are involved know, but nobody else does. That kind of a thing. That's what it feels like to me. But it's in setting appropriate boundaries and blocks and regarding changes with people, etc. So that's it for Monday the 9th. Let's move on to Tuesday the 10th here. Okay, this is when we're going to have Venus coming into Pisces. We can see Venus 0 degrees of Pisces. I get a sense of what I got in last week's video talking about Pisces energy is just being Pisces and going with the flow and rolling with it, etc. But let me see if I can get anything more with this. I feel like there's going to be more changes, but it's almost like the changes in people that are involved or whatever, these government higher levels or whatever, it's going to seem like it's just going to fall into place or flow. Like there's going to be like a flow where they just flow into certain vacancies. People will just show up to fill vacancies, whether it's positions, whatever. And it's just going to happen. And it's just going to be like, whoa, that just kind of came out of nowhere. Whoa, what happened here? I guess we're doing this now. Okay, that's what it kind of feels like to me. Okay, so at least for that kind of initial ingress in terms of Venus entering into Pisces here. We're also going to have Mercury here. Will be in square to Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius. This feels like a very behind-the-scenes stuff relating to, honestly, the outcasted kind of an energy where people have been thrown aside, but in a way that they shouldn't have been. And there's a lot that is going on behind the scenes to protect, set up boundaries, and actually appropriately deal with those kinds of things. What I get with that Mercury is this aspect of awareness. That's not necessarily communication, it's that aspect of awareness of what is going on and that it needs to be dealt with in some way. Because there's growth and expansion that needs to occur, and these people that have been outcasted are needing to be involved in some, they're needing to be protected, to be involved in some way instead of being outcasted because they actually have a proper message to tell or something along those lines. Okay, that's what it feels like to me. We're also going to have Venus in semi-square to Juno in Capricorn. This feels like, again, setting boundaries towards certain partnerships, contracts, etc. It feels like there's going to be changes, and I'm being drawn to this fact that Pisces is a mutable sign, which means changeable. And Juno deals with committed partnerships, contracts, etc. Now, on a global mundane level, this can be like economic partnerships, political partnerships, whatever these kind of contracts or commitments are on this level. But there's going to be changes of people involved. And it's going to kind of seem to just show up again. I'm getting that Pisces energy. It's going to seem to just kind of show up again. But it's like it's like, no, this boundary is here. This needs to change or this needs to shift. It's like there's these shifts that are occurring and these changes that are necessary with this. Okay. This feels like very much politically, I guess you could say. We're also going to have Venus in this semi-sextile to Neptune. So Venus at 0 degrees Pisces, Neptune at 0 degrees of Aries. I get a sense of this divine masculine energy that I talked about with this Neptune in Aries in support of this, what is it? It feels like protection of certain people. It feels like protection of certain people. Again, Venus as it relates to aspects of relationships or other people that are involved here, it feels like the protection of certain people from a level of which we don't understand, whether that may be spiritual or maybe something that's happening behind the scenes or something like that. It's just from a level of which is not tangible to a lot of us. Okay? Also on this day, the Sun is going to be in this biquintile to Jupiter retrograde. I almost want to say it feels like there's a frustration in what is meant to have been brought back to us with this Jupiter retrograde that I've mentioned before, and the changes that are meant to be occurring here. And there's a reworking behind the scenes of things that are needing to be taken care of in order to be able to bring certain things, the comfort back is what I sense, in whatever way that means. Okay, and last thing for the day is we're going to have Mars here that will be in semi-square to Saturn. I feel like this energy is like playing off of each other. There's a very supportive set of boundaries and such, and it almost feels like protection again, towards taking action towards proper progress, appropriate proper progress and change, and waking things up in different perspectives, those kinds of Aquarian kinds of things. Those Aquarian things that are very much needed in our world right now. Okay, so that's Tuesday, February 10th. Let's move on to Wednesday, the 11th. And this is when we're going to have Venus here in sesqui-square to Jupiter retrograde. Let's see, Venus sesqui-square Jupiter. I sense a positive energy with this, actually. There's people involved. It's about pushing to make something happen in a positive... I don't know why it feels like more... I get this feeling of this Cancer energy, because Jupiter's in Cancer, in this more like... it's comforting kind of a way. I don't know why. It's what I feel. A comforting kind of a way. There's people involved that's really pushing for growth and expansion, for things that are meant to come through in a more comforting kind of a way. I have no idea what exactly that means. And I'm kind of feeling that I'm not going to be able to go any further beyond that. So let's move on then to Mercury here in semi-square to Chiron. There's going to be vocality about... I'm getting like speaking compassionately about those or what has been injured or affected in terms of sovereignty, in terms of their individuality, etc. in some way. It's going to be vocal, it's going to be spoken about from a more compassionate perspective, saying these people need to be looked at in this way, this needs to da-da-da-da, or whatever. I'm also being drawn right now to say that there is a negative energy that may try to thwart or undermine a lot of what I'm saying that could be occurring this week. There's a lashing out of like trying to maintain control or a final stranglehold of the old paradigm, basically, as it's falling apart. And there's a lot of things in our world right now that are actually meant to fall apart, because there's something better that actually has been prepared to be in its place. And to be aware of what I'm saying and how it could be misconstrued or manipulated to make it seem like something that it is not. Okay, just be mindful of that. We're also going to have the Sun as well in sextile to Chiron here. What I get with this is the changes that are in progress that is needing to occur regarding these wounds, these hurts, these whatever that have occurred, but because we need to make progress and change away from these things, and so that they don't happen again. And I get a sense that that is why this negative energy is lashing out, because it wants those people to remain hurt or whatever. It doesn't want the actual proper progress and change to move more into a more positive space. Okay, so just be mindful of that. All right, but the thing is that darkness is not going to win. Even if they think that they get 1 foot forward in one area, they'll get contradicted in another. Okay, so it's going to be ongoing until the negativity is gone. Anyway, we're also going to have Mars in semi-square to Neptune here. This feels like a very supportive, behind-the-scenes divine masculine energy, to be honest. That's really helping to push and to support and protect to making these proper, appropriate progress and changes that are needing to occur. Okay, that's Wednesday the 11th. Let's move on to Thursday, February 12th. This is when we're going to have Mercury here, which will be in conjunction to the North Node in opposition to the South Node. What I get a sense of, there's a communication about this path forward, but it's, like I said, I mentioned with previous, this nefarious energy that is trying to manipulate things, that is going to try to make it seem like it's not the appropriate path forward when actually it is. Because we're dealing with this energy of Pisces that, I'm just being reminded of something else here, which I will get to in a minute. But we're being reminded of this energy of Pisces, and what I'm getting a sense of is now Mercury is in shadow. Okay, Mercury went in shadow yesterday, and I'll talk about this in a sec. That's what I'm being reminded of. Mercury is now in shadow. And I'm getting a sense, okay, that this negative energy will begin to be realized and revealed in some way. But it's showing up now to say it's trying to manipulate and say that that's not the appropriate path forward when it is. And it's like those who are in tune are going to be aware that they're being blindsided, that they're being manipulated into believing that a positive path isn't meant for them, because, and to keep them in this old negative way or the old paradigm way. And with this opposition to the South Node in Virgo, that what I feel is old practical things, how the world was run, used to be run, what we're used to, that is no longer practical anymore, that really was never suiting or fitting for us, and that we're meant to move forward in this new direction. And there's an awareness of this new direction, but there's also a manipulation at the same time, saying that it's not an appropriate way when actually it is. Now, Mercury shadow. I'm just going to tap into this now. What have we got for Mercury? Mercury shadow. It's gonna. It feels elusive. It feels there's aspects of deception, misunderstanding, but what it is all of this stuff is going to resurface again and come back up to the surface to try to be seen more for what it actually is. Okay, this Mercury retrograde is in Pisces, so we're going to be dealing with a lot of depth of deception, of misinformation, of all this kind of stuff that is just needing to honestly be looked at to come up to, so that things can be seen for what they are. Okay? Anyway, we're also going to have on this day Mars in this, where are we? Semi-sextile to Juno. What I get a sense of is this is taking action on a lot of new committed partnerships and contracts that have been made in order to push to make appropriate progress. This actually feels like more of a positive thing that's happening right now. Okay, Mars will also be in quincunx to Jupiter retrograde. As you can see, there's a quincunx here. I sense a frustration here in what I'm feeling is like stunted growth and expansion in what was supposed to be coming back to us, and it's really strong anger towards needing more of this push towards appropriate progress and change that is needing to be made with that quincunx energy. Okay, Jupiter is also going to be in opposition to Juno here as well. What I get a sense of is this feels very economic and trade related, and bringing back to us what it feels like is, because there's these new committed partnerships and contracts, but it's bringing back to us this aspect of trade, but in a global way, but in a new way. This Cancer energy, as it relates to home, as it relates to our home countries, but as it how they're related, interrelated to each other, as well as the partnerships and contracts that exist within those things. But this is doing it very much, it's bringing something back, but doing it very much in a very new and expansive new kind of a way. It's different than what it was before, but that's not a bad thing. Okay, so that's Thursday the 12th. Let's move on to Friday the 13th. And this is when we're going to have Saturn. It's not quite showing yet, but Saturn will come back into Aries. Let me see the time. 6:37 p.m. Central. This feels like there's... Holy crap, how the hell do I say this? There's a new structure to this Saturn. There's new structures here, and they're going to be very much more so in full force. They're not just being built behind the scenes or reworked on or whatever anymore. They're going to be in full force now, in fully moving forward. I get this related economically, maybe with trade or whatever, with new contracts and that. But there's it's not just that. It's like there's new structures here, in some way that are. And what I'm getting was with this conjunction to Neptune that will be coming up too, as they'll be at the same 0 degree mark, is that there's this higher level masculine supportive energy in supporting these new structures, supporting this newness, supporting a lot of this stuff from a much higher level and in a much more positive, appropriate masculine way to be able to move forward. It's like there's so much crap that has gone on, useless crap, useless misinformation, useless a whole bunch of stuff, and there needs to be this higher level of masculine support here to help with these new structures in being more foundational and in place, because people don't get it. They're still being stuck in the old. They're still believing what they've been manipulated to believe, misinformation, etc. And these new structures need to assert themselves in whatever way is what I am getting with this. And there's a higher level masculine supportive energy that is here to assist with that. Okay? Also on this day, there's going to be Venus here in semi-sextile to Pluto. Okay? It feels like people... I feel like people assisting... Okay, being reminded again, Pisces is this mutable energy that relates to changeable things. Dealing with Aquarius that relates to changeable things. Pluto that deals with transformation, change. There's people involved that are really helping. This feels like a strong energy in really moving forward in proper transformation and change and making progress forward in the direction that we're meant to go in. But it's pushing through the dark bullshit that is in the way and is saying, we don't care what you think anymore. We don't care that you've been manipulated and you're believing this old bullshit. We're pushing through in this way, whether you like it or not, but what I'm getting is because you don't see and understand what we do. You don't see and understand the actual real truth behind a lot of this stuff because you're constantly being manipulated and you're continuing to believe the manipulation instead of looking at what is real. Okay, that is what is coming through with that. And it's really pushing for that change and transformation, and there's people behind the scenes that are really working to push with that as well. That is Friday. Let's move on to Saturday the 14th as we approach the end of the week here, and nothing. So, that is it. That is the video for this week. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you. I do appreciate it. If you are looking to see what this is for you on any kind of a personal level or any kind of other personal reading, all those links are in the description below. If you're looking to contact me or reach out to me in any kind of a way, through email, through social DMs, or on Discord, all of that is in the description below as well. Thank you all for watching. I hope to see you all in next week's video. Take care. Bye.